Markle famously sat down with that particular interviewer and said that she'd never been asked to sign an NDA. That's a non-disclosure agreement. And for those that don't understand, and I don't mean that rudely, a lot of people don't understand these abbreviations. That is, of course, normally sort of a moral sort of clause in a contract where you're not allowed to talk about what's gone on behind the scenes, fallouts you've had, people who've been fired, that sort of thing in the bigger picture. In the celebrity world, of course, it's basically saying you could never speak about that superstar person that you've ever worked with, good or bad, whether they've been a diva, tantrum throwing, that sort of stuff. Meghan Markle sent out that chilling message via a New York magazine interview, basically to say to the British monarchy, no, nobody ever asked me to sign anything. Why would they not trust you? Of course, they would imagine that you truly wanted to represent this wonderful British monarchy. But of course, they found out quite differently. As ever, now here's another problem. Let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you today. And as ever, thank you so much for joining me. Nice to have your company on this brand new day. Hope you're all keeping well. You are, aren't you? Yes. You want to? We'll have a wave. You manage it. We'll have a slow wave today. Bit of exercise. I did a bit of walking the other day. Oh, it's fatal, isn't it? I know. You need to sit down after that. But you know when the buses don't turn up and they say just the next bus stop, and then it's the next bus stop, you might as well just walk. This is what it's like in London right now. Absolute shambles. I wouldn't come at all. Honestly, so bad for tourists right now. I can't tell you enough. Back as ever, though, to your breaking world story of the day. You see, now, what's happened here, which is fascinating when you think about it, there is Meghan's mouthpiece on earth, basically revealing all in this book. This is giving her, well, shall we say, you could find it all online. The bottom line is all of these stories is nothing new. This is a man, of course, who can't remember that he's taken off 6 years of his age. This is a man who can't remember that, of course, he had assistance directly from the people that he claimed quite literally in court that he had none at all. So obviously it's a pack of tissue of lies, but he's making a lot of money and some people might think good for him. But one person who's not happy with the way that they have been portrayed, and it doesn't take long for this fallout to happen, does it? You can imagine those hair extensions flying up with a full electricity mount, is none other than the former royal known as the Duchess of Sussex. You see, she's furious with the way, according to a very well-placed source, it's not sympathetic enough to her plight. And this really has got her team, and of course her herself, believing that the only way to correct this terrible mishap, this terrible situation that she's now found herself in, is to finally write the book. Now, as we told you before, Prince Harry's not too keen on this idea, simply because he believes that, that would be, of course, directly from the horse's mouth. His version of events, he thinks, is more a definitive biography of him, not so much of his wife. Now, he knows exactly how much trouble his wife and her outspokenness has got him into so far. But if she was to literally sign a book deal, sit down and tell her version of events, it's definitive. It's there, isn't it? And basically, he has to decide whether he, wants to let that go. He wouldn't really have a say. But according to that well-placed source now, Meghan Markle is furious. She thought that this particular book would portray her in a far more sympathetic light. If you do not do something verbatim what they ask, then of course you run the risk of the wrath of being expired quite literally out of her life. And more importantly, you could say that right now, the person that she thought was definitely on her side, well, the way it looks in that book, she doesn't feel it portrays her in her best possible light. And who's going to cross her for that? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.